My name is Benjamin Poole, and when I was 23, I gave my life savings to a broker who lost it all. But this taught me an invaluable lesson. I needed to educate myself to make my own financial decisions. Fast forward 20 years, I am no longer living paycheck to paycheck, and I want to share everything I've learned with you. Welcome to Financially Fit. Welcome to Financially Fit. My name is Benjamin Poole, and today I'm going to talk to you about a couple charts. The first one I'm going to go over is Square. So the Square chart that I went over last week said was a time count and was primed for a pullback. Well, today and earlier this week, we actually have had a pretty significant pullback. We've gotten 15% so far on the SQ chart. I also want to go over a little bit for you the Microsoft chart, which I also said was a bearish chart. And I'm going to show you what I'm looking for in that chart and what kind of levels to look for on the upside and potential downside. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the SQ chart. So here is the chart of the weekly SQ chart. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So like I said, time counts are super important. Usually we see a pullback in 7. This one actually took 9 for us to get a pullback. You notice we got a doji right here, and then this week started our pullback. All right, so what I'm looking for now is I actually have a fib retracement tool on the charts right now. So what I did was I took the lows right here. Excuse me, let me go ahead and get my tool working. So I took this level right here and I connected my fib retracement tool to the highs. So this gives me an idea of where this chart can go and where to potentially take profits. So right now, if you were to take profits at 15%, awesome, good job. If it retraces back up to this level, you could think about reshorting it. If you're still in this, here are some potential levels. Okay, so you have the 382, so right around $64.50. That is your 382 fib retracement level. So that would be a good level to potentially exit some of your position. Also, charts really like to do a 50% retrace. So if you wanted to wait until $59.60, that could be a great place as well. Or if you wanted to take part of your positions off an inch out of your position, that's great as well. So the level that I'm really eyeing for a potential long is a 618 retrace. So here is the magic of the chart. So this is why I really love the charts. Okay, 618. You're like, okay, well, that doesn't seem too significant. Why do you are so excited about the 618 retrace? Well, let me go ahead and show you. So I'm going to erase this, and then I'm going to go to the daily chart on Square. All right, I'm going to switch over. Here we go. Daily chart level. Here's what I'm seeing on the 618 level retrace. So here we have this pivot right here. It made a move up before the crash. Okay, so that's the 618 retrace from this low here to this high here. Also, you have this support right here. So this was a major pivot before it took off as well. And then you had all this choppiness right in this area. So you had this choppiness before a big move up, before a kiss of the level, or basically a retrace to the scene of the crime, before another big pull up. And so then when it finally broke down, it paused for like a split second, but then powered through. So this tells me that because it hit so many support levels, that when it comes back down and hits that 618, you're going to get a pretty significant bounce. So I'm guessing you're going to get a 10 to 15% retrace, a bounce off of this 618 retrace. Okay, so that's the level I'm really looking at. Now let's say you exit your position and you're patient and you say, all right, that's a great place to exit my trade, but what about re-entering it on a long? If you didn't want to wait for the 618 and you wanted to wait till it goes lower, well, I want to show you this really cool chart. This really cool trend line that I have drawn in. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and switch over here. So this is my live, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of these lines on my charts, clean this up for you, so that way you can focus on this yellow trend line. So I don't know if you guys remember, but you guys can go back and look at the SE chart. So I had an SE chart that had this really awesome trend line. So here you have a trend line that goes back to 2017. I don't know why. Here we go. Let's try this again. This trend line that goes back to 2017, it kisses that, and then it's off to the races. It comes back and hits this level back in 2020. That was the lows. And that is when, all the craziness happened after COVID. All this money was pumping in. But it kissed this level. It actually tagged the level. So it came back to the scene of the crime. Then, back in 2023, it hit it again. But there was so much time in between these levels that it shows me that this is actually pretty strong support. You also had this downsloping trend line that was additional support for that level, which made it so much stronger that if this level were to come back and get down to about $40, I think it's going to get another significant bounce as well. And it could even bounce this time and close above the $80 level, which for me would be continually bearish. Bullish. So you could expect higher highs. All right. So that's the chart that I'm liking on SE at these specific levels that I had drawn in. And then ultimately, if I'm going to get back into this trade for a long, I'm going to wait till it gets down to $40 again. And then I think it's off to the races. Okay, so the next chart I want to show you is Microsoft. So this was another chart that I actually went over, and I told you guys, okay, so this is setting up a very bearish pattern. So here is, let me go ahead and switch to the daily. All right, so here's the Microsoft's chart on a daily time frame. Okay, so we had this big reversal candle, and I don't know if you guys can see that or not, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. All right. So we had this big reversal candle, and now what it's doing is putting in this beautiful bear flag, okay? So any drop here in sideways consolidation, that to me tells me that this Microsoft chart has further downside. All right, so now what we're looking for is we're actually looking for it to break. So here's a better line, right? So if we were to connect this low with this low, and now our third low, if we can get this to break, we're going to go down to this 356.50 level. Okay, so that doesn't mean that we can go short now. We got to wait for our next entry if we're not in this. And so you could actually wait for it to hit the top part. Excuse me. So around 383 level would be a good spot to enter this for a short, and then wait for it to hit this level, and then ultimately roll over to this 356 level. Okay, so we have a couple other levels that I'm looking at. So you're going to have this pivot top right here. That's going to be lots of support. So right around the 345 level. And then ultimately, I think that it's going to go down to this gap fill, probably around the 330 level. Okay, so even though we are tracking this, there's nothing really for us to do yet until it actually confirms below or above specific levels. So if it confirms above this high right here, this high of this red bar, then we know that it's actually going to go up and probably tag this line up here. So getting closer to the $400 level. I hope you guys enjoyed this chart on Microsoft and SQ. Just know that all this is for educational purposes only. So please do your own research, and thank you guys so much for watching and supporting this channel. I appreciate you, and we will see you next time on Financially Fit.